Coming up in this week's episode of Coaster News, a long-anticipated brand new roller coaster has unexpectedly opened in Texas, and Parc Astérix have announced their next major investment. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coaster News. And as always, got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Now, top story for tonight, Circuit Breaker has officially opened at Circuit of the Americas. And yeah, this was literally incredibly unexpected, like with the Pantherian opening, because they didn't say really anything about its opening, it just sort of opened. Bear in mind, it's only been testing for like a few weeks prior to its opening, but now it's just open to the public for everyone to ride. It's kind of surreal to think about, actually. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, the brand new second of its kind roller coaster officially opened last Friday. Circuit Breaker is a brand new Vekoma tilt coaster located at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. First announced in spring 2022, Circuit Breaker was one of two major roller coasters to open at the brand new Coasterland theme park located within Circuit of the Americas. However, the ride faced delays year after year, with vertical construction not beginning until early 2025. In September, the final track section for Circuit Breaker was lifted into place. A month later, in October, the ride began its first ever test runs. Unexpectedly, Circuit Breaker officially opened to the public on the 17th of October 2025 with no official announcement. So yeah, that is quite strange. Like, considering it's a pretty big new ride and one of two major roller coasters to be opening at this new theme park as part of the F1, I think it's F1, the F1 circuit, the racing circuit. You'd think they'd make some big press release about how they've got this brand new record, I think it's record-breaking roller coaster opening literally in just a few days or even a few weeks, depending on when they plan to. No, they just opened it, and the only way people actually heard about it was, I don't even think any of us really heard about its opening right away. It only took us like maybe a couple of days for word of mouth to reach the wider theme park community. Which is fascinating, really. Why did they make no sort of announcement about this? But I don't know. But either way, Circuit Breaker is open now, and I'm glad to see it's fully in operation after all these years. In other news today, Parc Astérix have announced their next major new roller coaster, and this park seems to be investing pretty much all the time recently. Like the past few years, they have seen a massive boost in brand new attractions and like overall just money being put into the park, and that is really great to see. But if you don't know what's going on, basically Parc Astérix have announced their next major roller coaster and new themed land. The French theme park has partnered with Swiss manufacturer Intamin to build a brand new multi-dimension coaster. The new ride is part of the new Londinium themed land and is described as the most ambitious investment Parc Astérix has ever made. It will include immersive dark ride sections, cutting-edge technology and multi-dimensional elements, including controlled rotation. In addition to this, the coaster will have a track length of 800 meters, 5 ride vehicles and a total capacity of 1,100 riders per hour. The brand new multi-dimension coaster is slated to open at Parc Astérix in 2028. So yeah, there you have it. Parc Astérix, they're getting a brand new multi-dimension coaster just 3 years after opening the Automatics, which is a Gerstlauer family spinning coaster, and that ride opened literally a couple of months ago, but that opened literally 2 years after Tutatis, which is the famous Intamin Blitz coaster with the multi-pass launch and the vertical spike backwards sections, you know, one of the most beloved attractions in Europe. And so, you know, it's great to see them And not just that, this roller coaster is part of a whole new themed land. Not too sure on the details of the land itself, we'll just know a brand new roller coaster is coming as part of that land. We don't know the name of the new roller coaster yet, but it's set to open in 2028. So just under 3 years' time. So yeah, it is said to include, it's a multi-dimension coaster, so you know it's going to be a wonderful immersive experience, because we've seen other multi-dimension coasters with the likes of Uncharted at Portaventura and other attractions, Studio Tour at Movie Park Germany as well. So I'm sure this ride will live up to that sort of standard as well, and I cannot wait to see this brand new multi-dimension coaster open at Parc Astérix. Also in the news today, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift has officially begun testing. And I can't believe we've finally gotten to this historic chapter in the construction of this highly anticipated new roller coaster. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Universal Studios Hollywood's latest roller coaster has officially begun the testing phase. First announced in 2023, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift is a brand new Intamin LSM launch coaster set to open at Universal Studios Hollywood in 2026. Reaching a top speed of 72 miles per hour and travelling over 4,100 feet of track, it will be the fastest and longest roller coaster at the park. Unlike previous Intamin LSM launch coasters, Hollywood Drift will feature ride vehicles with controlled spinning, simulating the feeling of cars drifting. Vertical construction was officially completed in April 2025. 6 months later, on the 16th of October, first test runs were held for the ride. However, early test runs didn't go fully to plan, as just a few days ago, a train got stuck at the very top of the dive loop just before the third launch. So yeah, that is crazy that happened, with the train literally stalling at the very top perfectly of the dive loop, which rarely ever happens. We don't really see this happen during the testing phase or when the ride is open, but it got stuck like literally right at the very top of the dive loop. I'm sure they managed to get it down, because obviously that was a few days ago, and they will have gotten the train down and through the rest of the layout, and it will have continued its testing since then. But either way, it's great to see that it started testing, and you know, I cannot wait to see what this ride is gonna ride like when it opens next season. It's a highly anticipated ride with an incredible layout, and also the controlled spinning feature to simulate cars drifting will honestly add a whole new like thrill element to it. And I cannot wait to see what Hollywood Drift looks like when it officially opens next year. And finally in the news today, Portaventura have announced a major refurbishment project for Dragon Khan. And you know, it's great to see that they're still continuing to maintain and look after their more classic attractions and their more popular rides at the park, including Dragon Khan, which is one of the most iconic roller coasters in Spain. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Dragon Khan is a B&M sit-down looping coaster which first opened at Portaventura World in 1995. At the time of opening, Dragon Khan had the world record for the most inversions on any roller coaster in the world, with 8 in total. These include 2 vertical loops, a dive loop, a 0G roll, a cobra roll, and interlocking corkscrews. In October 2025, to increase the longevity of Dragon Khan, Portaventura announced that they would retrack sections of the ride during the 2025/26 close season. They plan to retrack the vertical loop and the cobra roll sections of Dragon Khan. So yeah, it's great to see that Portaventura are still continuing to invest into and, you know, maintain their rides properly and increase the longevity of them so they can operate for longer. Even if it's just like retracking certain sections, like just the loop and the cobra roll. Now, I've never been to Portaventura World, so I don't know how Dragon Khan rides like now compared to when it originally opened. So maybe it'll be like where the Big One retrack project at Pleasure Beach, where they would retrack certain sections each season, and the particular sections that they would retrack would get would actually be sort of be smoothened out. So maybe that will happen with this ride, but we'll have to wait and see when the park opens next season and Dragon Con has a new loop and Cobra roll. So yeah, that is it for this week's episode of Coast News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment what you'd like to see in the next video. Goodbye.